Hi, hello. In today's video, I'll be telling you about thoughts that are not yours. Thoughts that are sent by covert hypnosis or some, energy work. So, if that's something for you, then stay tuned and off we go. And yeah, I'll start um, with the example when I was trying to work and the very first time and some manifesting techniques or you know repeating over and over some positive sentence like my vision is excellent. So I would have a thought occurring in my mind, my vision is blurred, and that's not true. And yeah, and when I had more sleeps of the time, they actually made me feel for a while like insecure. But uh, I think it was supposed to discourage me from manifesting, the life that I wanted. Like, thinking about extrasensory perception, I would have the word occurring in my mind, like posthumous perception, or I'm tired. It would occur in my mind. I wanted to think I'm tired, and then it appeared in my mind like I'm perverted. So it shows me that not only they send you like the entire idea, the entire sentence, but they also, modify what you are apt to think, what you're about to, how you're about to name your own, for example, feeling or experience, right? So they modified that too. And then I experienced that, with thinking on the level of thinking, writing, speaking, and even when recording a video. So, when I was writing the book Piglet, I wrote that someone close to me went to the brothel, and I wrote that I was in the brothel too. But that's not true. I wanted to write that I was a stripper, and I wrote that and during that time, I was seeing my professor and I was handing him the book. So he would be my first reader. And, I felt ashamed because I wrote that I was in a brothel and that wasn't true anyhow. So I don't understand how could I write it. But that is just one of the many slips of the tongues along writing the book. And then, when writing the book, yet, as you know, I was looking for a sponsor, but I reached the place where I used to work for like 2 days, and I wanted to leave my book over there. And I had lots of thoughts, like, I said that I was looking for a sponsor, but I wanted to actually talk about the investor and somebody who would invest in publishing process, like, printing out the book, right? Um, and there was more in the snippet I left over. I was thinking that it was badly written, or when leaving the place, I had a bad adjective with regard to Jewish people. So I felt, all those Jews. But, at that time, I didn't write yet in my book about Jewish people, like anything. So it was like totally foreign for me. Like, why would I think about Jewish people in a place that, I just went over there to leave the book. Uh, yeah, and I couldn't foresee it that I actually was most probably in a Jewish restaurant. So when I was there, so I believe it was done so that I would experience, um, shame, and so that I don't know, I wouldn't go there anymore. Um, Especially with the word sponsor, because well, that sounds bad, because well, you'll find some aspects of looking for a different type of sponsor in my life too. So in the video when working in the book, I also posted a video on Facebook where I started to um, I said that I was addicted to sex, and I never thought about it that way. Although that was my topic, but I never thought I was addicted to sex. So I never believed that. So I don't understand how possibly could I have said something like that. And I believe it happened so that I would feel embarrassed, and I did, so that I would feel ashamed, and I did, and so that I would stop posting videos or stop talking about witchcraft, and and stop promoting the book and the content of the book too. So uh, because the examples I gathered, like the Brodka, that I was in Brodka, that I'm looking for a sponsor, and that I'm addicted to sex. I mean, this is very like consistent with the topic of shame, right? And it's also the topic which I discuss with those live events, during live events on Tuesdays at 8:33. So you're welcome to join me on Facebook, on YouTube live. Yeah, and I had many more examples in my own life when actually I had an impression that people would respond to my thoughts. So at school, in a high school, I always thought about Justina, that she was, just I don't know why, but I thought she was a weak person and she needed a group desperately. Which now I have a different perspective on that, because we all need a group. But with regard to her, her best friends just abandoned her for a while and approached me, and they used the same words that I had in my mind, like she was weak. Um, and then when studying with Dorota, Magda, and Magda, I started to think that they were just so relaxed, so not bothered by studies, so not overwhelmed by it. And on that thought, they just, as if magically acted out something, like Magda asking Magda. I mean, yeah, if um, Dorota asking Magda, Dorota asking Magda, and if if she has already learned, and Magda replied that if you start just the day before with the long list of words, then you feel overwhelmed, which is natural, normal thing. But I don't know. I just had, for some moment in time, I just studied two fields of studies, and it was hard. And then with regard to infection, I remember at least, two situations when with my fourth grade students, we had to hit the cart lying in the middle of the circle, and we had to hit it, one by one, adding more hands to it, right, from each and every possible side, because we had to do it fast. And I was the first one to hit the card to model for them the behavior. And then I thought, oh, they shouldn't touch me because I would infect them, so they didn't move. And then I had another thought, but I'm not infecting, right? So on that thought, I started to hit the card normally. And I had the same thing with, at McDonald's. I asked for iced tea, and Kuba gave me iced tea, and I thought, oh, I touched him, so I infected him. So there was a lot of tension in him, and he was like looking at me, like, with scarcity or disbelief, I don't know. And then I thought, but no, I'm not infecting anymore. So on that thought, he adjusted his behavior, his response, his reaction. Like, he relaxed, he smiled, he was different. Just in the thought, and sure thing, you do not infect just by touching, right? Um, and then we have And then I was thinking that, I also was used to think in the classroom that when I didn't know the answer to a question, then, I used to think and used to say that, I'm not a medicine and I don't know everything, right? I'm not a god, but you can always check. And then I started to think that if only I had, more of these questions when I didn't know the answer, then I would feel embarrassed. So that fall, they started to ask more questions, um, which is, yeah. I also had two private students, and I used to think that, Clara's mom wasn't, she didn't notice her, as much as her younger daughter. And on that thought, when talking to me, she forgot her daughter's name. She didn't know what was her name, which is kind of impossible for me because, well, because you live with that child for 10 years at least, right? And it's your child. And when I thought about, alienation and Anna Popovska's training, where she said that when your students have some requests, like, to have something checked for their work, then you have to refuse. And I started to think about it, worry about it. So then my student, my adult student asked me to check something for her, which at that time was, when you're starting, it takes you longer, it takes time to check something and do it in the right way. And I also remember Mrs. Batko who came for one lesson that was business English, and I told her I just knew general English, and I told the boss about it. So that's all I could do with her because I was prepared to do so. And we did that one lesson of general English, and then I had questions appearing in my mind, like if the lesson was good, and what would I change, what would I do differently, what would I improve. And there was just one thing that maybe I would do differently, but overall I was just happy with the result, and I really knew that I made it well. And therefore, she said to the boss that the lesson was good. But, with that lady, I had an example because I talked to a native speaker who told me, well, her lesson didn't go well with that girl. And she reported to the boss on her. So, well, I have to tell you that that woman really responded to my thoughts and my belief and my strong conviction that I did everything well. And if I didn't, then she would use probably my own, opinions on what went wrong. So yeah, therefore, your beliefs actually do matter. Yeah, and um, what I wanted to tell you here is that if you want to learn more about the way covert hypnosis works, if you want to learn more about the system, if you want to learn more about my book Piglet, you'll find all the info in the description of the film, on my website, Facebook, Instagram accounts. And same as with the course Amelia. It's a course that explains how identities, gays, lesbians, transvestites, and pedophiles are created with intertextuality and covert hypnosis too. So if that's something for you, then click the link, check it out. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.